just give a general introduction. Hi, everybody. We are the demographic group. Here's Easy, Xinwan, Hongyi, Yanzhou, Yingzhe Wu, Xinwan Zhang, Richen Cao, and we are just giving some presentation on some current events in Chinese demographic problems and focusing on the migration and elder care system. So the first one is our first policy memo.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Xinwan, and I'm going to start us off by introducing our policy memo on dumping trend and predicaments of second-generation rural migrant workers. So we're going to start off by some backgrounds and definitions. So dumping or lying flat is a trend of social protest that reflects the mentality of young people of refusing to rat race. And it has been aggravated by the competitions and physical limitations brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. And it also represents a shared emotion of self-deprecation through which the young people find a common ground in a stressful environment. And by second-generation rural migrant workers, we refer to the population of young people born after 1980, older than 16 years old, who have a rural hukou, which we're going to discuss in the next slide, and have migrated out of their place of origin to work in non-rural sectors. And we identify three characteristics. First, they have a higher overall level of education. Secondly, they are adept at technology and the internet, which is reflected in their choice of leisure activities and a higher enrollment in IT industries in some areas. And third, they have higher urban aspirations, meaning that they are less attached to farming skills and are more likely to engage in entrepreneurial undertakings, like small businesses. And the hukou system was established in 1958, in which the population is divided based on their place of origin or residence into agricultural or rural hukou and non-agricultural or urban hukou. And there was a reform in 2014 in which such division was canceled, leaving only geographical distinctions. However, because of the development, the long-term development and social welfare that is separated in the two geographical areas, it has accumulated throughout the years, resulting in inequality in development and social welfare. And the hukou system, as I mentioned, still has a lot of impact even after the reform. Beyond accumulation, because of the separation of the two populations and large waves of migrant workers into cities, the urban governments often have limited resource to support both the original urban population and the migrant populations. Thus, many set high bar settlement policies, including based on educational qualifications and stable job and residence, making it hard for migrant workers to reach the requirements and gain footing in the cities. And this creates huge differences in health insurance, education, and pension systems between urban and rural residents in the cities. And in our policy memo, we have two main focus, which are on employment and social security. And we argue that the second generation migrant workers have a special place in the lying flat phenomenon in the cities today because of their disembeddedness in both rural and urban areas. So first of all, they are staggered by the shackles that trouble the first generation, even with higher education levels and urban aspirations. And this leads many to lie flat and eventually leading to compromise of returning to their place of origin. And secondly, they are disconnected from the city and urban youths because of their different life struggles as a result of the high bar of enjoying social welfare. So our first focus is on employment, in which we found there was discrimination in employment and wages. So the quality of employment for second generation rural migrant workers are often subpar, including poor working conditions, long working hours, and high working intensity. And they also tend to sign incomplete contracts due to the lack of knowledge of the rural employment, of the urban employment system, and discrimination that they encounter at workplace, which results in unpaid insurance, delayed wages, and labor disputes. And a special example of such discrimination is gig economy, which is common in food delivery platforms and have high enrollment rate of rural migrant workers, in which workers are identified as independent workers rather than employees, so that their rights are not legally protected by the existing laws. This leads to a lack of bargaining power when they're confronting the platforms, and also leads them to be disconnected from the urban social network of workers. And another problem with employment is the still existing lack of fit and working skills. So the employment demand of urban employment is high in high quality technical talents. However, the vocational skills of migrant workers have still not followed up with the trend, creating further complications in the employment of migrant workers. And our second focus is on social security. And we found that the second generation rural migrant workers lack access to fundamental public services, both because of their lack of awareness of enrollment in Social Security and their eligibility as regulated by the policies. So we found that there is a relatively low rate of migrant workers participating in the 3 types of urban employment insurance. And because of the policy regulations, some are also ineligible to social welfare and social assistance in the big cities that they're living in. So based on our findings in employment and social welfare, we provide some preliminary policy recommendations on the 2 areas. So on employment, we believe that occupational training programs that raise workers, that enhance workers' professional skills and bridge it with the labor demand in the cities can be helpful for the employment situation, and lectures that stimulate the workers' creativity in job seeking beyond manufacturing industry could also be helpful. And furthermore, we argue that the government should invest in supporting the entrepreneurship of new generation migrant workers, which would help them gain motivation and footing in the society. And in terms of social security, we believe that detailed legislation regulating the labor relations between migrant workers and their employers should be introduced and promoted to protect their rights and benefits. And we also believe that community efforts could play an important role here. For example, we've seen examples of community labor unions in some cities that have increased their sense of belongingness to the cities. And also communities could hold lectures on social insurance that would enhance their awareness of their rights of participating in the social welfare system. And that's all for our policy memo, and I'm gonna hand it to Arthur. Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you for Xinwan. And let's just move our focus on from the young people to the elders. And our second policy memo is how to motivate Chinese social enterprises in elder care industry in light of aging and economic woes. So here's some first background information. So first one, obviously, there is some rapidly growing aging population in China. And, this is the first year that where Chinese population falls for first time since 1961, along with the declining birth rates. And meanwhile, the proportion of the senior population has increased from 13% in 2010 to 18% in 2020. A continuous aging society with low birth rate is prompting changes in its demographic makeup and triggering the social economic challenges for statesmen and the society. And we just found certain inefficiency in current welfare system. Although China has a pension system, however, it is insufficient to maintain daily needs. By 2014, 501 million elders are covered by basic endowment security. In 2020, the monthly per capita pension for rural and city residents was 112 Chinese yuan. The amount of money that a pension provided covers only oil and salt. And concerning the elder care model in China, there are 3 forms which we'll cover in the later PPT. I just give sort of spoiler alert. still the three elder care model are not sufficient to provide us enough care for senior citizens. And here, that's where social enterprise come in. Concerning imminent social crisis brought by aging population and escalating fiscal burden, social enterprises could be a considerable force to increase provision of elder care service and establish a sustainable environment with administration. Based on existing policy for elder care industry and social enterprise in China, we believe that this functioning model of social enterprise in Sichuan province specifically and Singapore would be contributing to execution of policy on both local and national scale. So you might have a question, what is social enterprises? So this notion is first brought up, I believe, in in Britain, and social enterprises is just organizations, business pattern that applies commercial strategy to maximize improvements in financial, social, and environmental well-being. This may include maximizing social impact alongside profits for co-owners. And so we just focusing on Sichuan specifically. In Chengdu, the government has clarified that social enterprises can be registered with the industrial and commercial departments and various districts have introduced measures to support their cultivation. In 2012, Chengdu issued detailed regulations, and which includes identification procedures, supporting policy, and supervision system for social enterprises. And also they also motivate some mature social enterprises to enter the financial market and sort of to publicize themselves and to show their potential in what either business pattern, profitability, or their social promotion, their potential to show the peoples, and still they make some deals in the financial markets. But there are some problems there. The lack of nationwide regulations and laws restrict the development of social enterprises, and the legitimacy of social enterprises still limited to places where they can be identified, which hinders well-developed social enterprises from launching nationwide business. Just imagine that many people would just feel like, oh my God, there's some weird, evil Western organizations. We're gonna believe it. So we need a legitimacy. And also there are physical problems lacking experience and money. So we just believe that the central government could establish some nationwide regulations and laws related to social enterprises to provide a clear legal framework for their operations. And they also shall introduce some financial and tax policies to provide a financial support for social enterprises. And to address the issue of lack of experience, the government can provide training and capacity building program for social enterprises. We see Sichuan has been doing that, and a precise support for social enterprises can be strengthened by creating a supportive ecosystem that includes partnership with the government agency, academic institution, and private sector organizations. And still, we'll also see some Sichuan government has been doing so great in that, and we really appreciate that. And I'm gonna hand it to Rui Chen, and we just will continue reflecting upon the potential social enterprise in the context of aging society.
Yes, so I'm in charge of the research part. The research topic is how social enterprises impose a tentative solution to deficiency in China's elderly care model. And apparently there are three types of primary model for elderly care, namely the family elderly care, institutional elderly care, and community elderly care, which are all backed by the government and are being supported through various policies. And the primary model is the family elderly care model in China. It is kind of the most traditional family care model, as it is heavily influenced by the Confucius idea of emphasizing the concept of family. And however, the changing population structure and urbanization has weakened its effective. The family structures become smaller and more nuclear, and rural elderly care have decreased as economic support, life care, and spiritual comfort. So overall, it is kind of fading away. And the institutional elderly care is the second kind of common elderly care model. It is a socially elderly care model that uses social means and guaranteed by social system. But China faces a significant challenge in its development. So you can kind of imagine institutional elderly care is something more like the care home. The government provides financial support to elderly care institutions, but their impact are limited due to low occupations rate, the challenge of setting affordable fee while covering operational cost, and ineffective implementation of government subsidies. Elderly individuals also prefer traditional family care and have concern over the quality of service provided by institutional care. And the third model is the community elderly care, which has basically two subsystems: the community home care and the institutional community care, which aim at providing a comprehensive service based on the to the elderly care based on their health condition. However, this model faced several challenges. The service offered by the community to the elders are inadequate to meet their growing and diverse need, and most of them are limited to daycare. And the training and development of professional caregivers is not adequate, and the community workers may lack of necessary qualification and training to provide professional service. And finally, inadequate government funding for community elderly care leads to limited range of service that can be provided for elderly over the long term. So I'll further on explain how social enterprise could possibly improve these care system. So I'll give the example of Chengdu Langli Elderly Care Industry Development Cooperation, which I'll later on refer as Langli. Langli's age-appropriate home renovation has proposed as a more effective and affordable solution for family care in China. In 2016, Langli first converted a social work order to age appropriation home renovation through coordination with the government, and provided home renovation for more than for 4 elderly people is needed. During the past service process, Langli staff has constantly asked by the elderlies or their families to purchase some simple elderly supplies, such as special purpose crutches and adult diapers, etc. And the second, another case of Langli assisting the institutional elderly care will be that the high cost of nursing home are really exceeding the financial means of most elderly citizens, which was previously mentioned, and the pricing of Langli group service ranging from 2,000 to 3,000 per person is roughly equivalent to the range of Chengdu in 2011, making it relatively affordable for the elderlies. Unlike traditional elderly care institutions, Langli still need to allocate 20% of revenue to charity, making its profitability more challenging and compared with to traditional social care enterprises. And as a conclusion, kind of comparing to the NGOs and government and NGO enterprises, the social enterprise propose a distinct advantage in terms of stability and autonomy. While the government agencies are capable of providing social service, they often hampered by bureaucratic inefficiency. They limit their ability to respond effectively to citizens' need. NGO, on the other hand, may struggle with issues of sustainability and prioritize service provision over issue of financial sustainability and accountability. Meanwhile, for social enterprise, it is less bureaucratic and more nimble in their ability to respond to feedback of citizens' demand. Furthermore, for profit entities, they maintain a strong emphasis on sustainability and growth, which set them apart from NGOs. In summary, social enterprise commitments to provide service while maintaining financial accountability make them superior option for providing social service compared to government agencies and the NGOs. I think that's it. Thank you.